My name's Victoria Walker. I am the owner of Continuity of Care Services. I want to talk to you today about how the care industry unexpectedly became a part of my life. So I was quite young when I had my daughter, and as she was born and I was in the hospital looking down at this newborn baby, I knew that I needed to do something with my life. So a number of years later, I'd met my husband and we moved to a Kent village. When I first moved there, I found myself to be quite isolated. I didn't have a lot of people around me that I knew. It wasn't an area that was comfortable for me. And my world had literally shrunk right down. One day, I was at my local village shop and I happened to see an advertisement for a couple that are looking for care. And that is how I started my journey in the care industry. So at the time, I didn't know anything about the care industry at all, and I certainly didn't know anything about qualifications or what was needed to be in the industry. But what I did have was the want to be able to help and support people. So the advert itself was really lovely, and it was made personally by the couple that needed the support. And it listed the daily tasks that were required, but it also listed the fact that they wanted somebody that had a great sense of humour. I knew how important this was, because actually I would think that I would want the same. I was really lucky to get an interview that particular day with this absolutely amazing couple. It was sitting down and speaking to them. The gentleman himself had a condition known as spinal muscular atrophy. As I entered their house, the door opened and the first thing he came wheeling up to me and said, "Oh, I know you, don't I?" I'd never met him at all in my whole entire life, but it was such a nice way to be welcomed. From that moment, it just set the precedent for the interview, and I already started to feel comfortable and any of my nerves seemed to disappear. His wife had multiple sclerosis, and this affects people in many different ways. She was paralysed from the waist down. She was still able to carry out a lot of the day-to-day tasks, and she could actually also drive the vehicle that had been specially adapted for her. This was the most wonderful introduction to care that I could have ever hoped for with this absolutely amazing couple. We would really have lots of giggles of an evening watching at the time X Factor and discussing who we felt may get through to the next round and who we didn't want to win at all. They were really good days, and laughing from the bedroom was just so loud, and it was just great fun. So although these times were absolutely fantastic, we also had our serious moments, and these are times when we were talking about how they had had poor experience in the past from care companies. They were really regimented and might not even turn up, or would turn up at different times of the day, and this really did not suit this couple at all. This is why they put an advert in the shop window looking for staff themselves. It was really important to them to have their own team coming at the times that they wanted, rather than what they had experienced when people would arrive at all different hours with no structure. It was this couple that inspired me to set up Continuity of Care Services. I really wanted people that need any care or support to be able to choose who they want to come into their own home and when. So thanks to working with this couple, and during my time, I knew I never wanted to go back into an office, but I did want to help other people. One of the best things about working in care is that I have met and worked with so many different people, and the experience that I have, I would never have been able to gain in any other industry for myself. So I've looked after people that had locked-in syndrome after a stroke. So I've had to learn communication in a completely different way. I've also looked after a gentleman who had a spinal cord injury, and I have to understand his needs being very separate to, for example, what an elderly person might require. Caring for all these completely unique individuals really made me understand that care needs to be standardised, and it needs to be much more person-centred. I know a lot of companies are using person-centred as a real buzzword, but what we have proved for many of our families is that we can support people with their everyday goals, their everyday needs, their wants, and just making things possible, but to mimic their ordinary life. The continuity of care story doesn't end there. We're constantly evolving by working with the families that we support. It's that level of teamwork that allows us to grow and create something so special. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our story.